And I think, really, you know, a lot of people ask me at anime cons, obviously, about getting specifically into voice work for anime. I have to say that, especially nowadays, it's just, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just really, really difficult. There's not that much work that's in production right now, as opposed to what there was several years ago. But it's just, it's very laser focused. You know, I never thought when I was beginning my acting career that, you know, that I was ever going to do voices in anime. I always had an interest in doing some kind of voiceover work, and thankfully I have been able to do that. But you know, most of the people that I know who've ended up doing work for anime didn't really set that as their initial goal. They're just actors pursuing acting work, and it happens to be a particular acting job that came along, and if you're good at it, if you have a knack for it, then you'll get a good deal of that work. But I know right now in just about every market, the amount of work has decreased considerably, unfortunately. But, you know, it'll still be around, I think, in some form. But, for example, many shows that are coming out right now are just being subtitled. They're not even being dubbed because of the way the market is at the moment, that they're trying to kind of eke every penny out of it, and it costs so much to dub a show. So there really isn't a budget for that. But if at any time you have a question about acting of any sort, you may feel free to ask us that. Yes, Kaji, please ask a question.
Do you do any kind of theatrical acting now?
The last stage work that I did was about a year ago. For several years, gosh, for about 12 or 13 years, I was with a children's theater company, and I toured and we did shows with them. We didn't have a location. We toured and we did shows like in elementary schools. We did community centers, libraries, wherever people would pay us to perform.
That's a wonderful way to work.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I loved doing children's theater. The audiences are just so enthusiastic and they absolutely love you. I mean, if I think I get adoration from fans coming to an anime convention, it's nothing like playing Snow White to a bunch of 5-year-olds.
It means you to acclimate as an actor to a space, which is important.
Yeah, because every location is different, and we get there and we have about 20 minutes to put up our whole set and get into costume, and then the audience is coming in. And it's kind of exciting, but yeah, I did it for a really long time, and I'm not doing it anymore, so I don't know. We'll see the next thing coming. Yes?
I have another question.
Yes?
Do you audition for the voice acting roles that you do now, or do they just get a hold of you, hey, we kind of want you to do this? Okay.
Both. Yeah, both. There's a lot of stuff that I audition for, and I get some of it, and then a lot of it I don't get at all. And then sometimes there are jobs, like someone that I've worked with before, and there's just this particular part that, yes, Tiffany, we think you should do this role. So there's both. And it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I get offered stuff and I have to audition.
Yeah.
Stuff I audition for, I never do.
Yeah, I would say most of the stuff I audition for, the percentage is fairly low. I mean, I get some of it.
I just auditioned for a film right now.
Yeah, well, there you go.
On Monday. I think nobody else showed up for it.
Did you have another
Yes, I did.
one? That's awesome.
Okay, well, I did a lot of acting in high school and a lot of it in college, so when you get into the real world, you're like, wow, trying to find roles is hard.
No kidding!
So my question is, I don't want to pry too much into your personal lives, but what do you guys do when you can't find work? Like, how do you pay the bills?
That is a tricky problem. My situation is different in the last few years because I got married. So fortunately for me, right now I don't have to make enough money to live on. Somehow, how the hell I don't know, but with all of my weird jobs, a director that I worked with one time said all actors have about 47 jobs, and we do. I mean, you know, I do things like I take surveys, you know, or I like focus groups, listen to radio, like songs for 3 hours, and they give you $100. I mean, I do all kinds of weird jobs. I work as an extra in movies and commercials, and I used to do a fair bit of script adaptations for anime, but the last one I did was over a year ago. So, I mean, all kinds of weird jobs. You've probably done a lot of strange jobs.
Waiting on tables.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Not for a long time.
Tons of that stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't had to do that for quite a while. I couldn't wait on a table now.
Yeah.
My legs were gone. My scooters are shot. My jets are cool.
The dogs have done bark.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's what I was doing.
I mean, hopefully you establish yourself enough that you have enough contacts and, you know, a friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but it's somebody that you probably know, but I mean, he's a very, very well-established actor in Houston, does a lot of voiceover work on camera, he does all kinds of things, and, you know, he's got a wife and 3 kids, so he's got to make a lot more money than a single person would have to make, and I heard that recently he got a job at a restaurant to pick up some extra cash, so, you know, I mean, times are hard, you just got to do what you got to do. If I had to, I would get a job waiting tables or something again. I haven't had a regular job in a really long time. No, go to Brittany.
Hi. I have a friend who just got a bachelor's degree in theater and like acting, and she's like, she lives here in Toledo, but she has no idea where to get into.
She might not be able to make a living as an actor in Toledo. That's just a hunch. But seriously, I think anybody should start wherever you are. There's something. I mean, Toledo's a city. There's something here. There's community theater. There's somebody doing independent films. There's small radio stations. There's something. There's something that she can do, and you should just start wherever you are and network. I mean, meet up with other actors. Get in. You know, because by working and meeting other people, that's how you make those connections and find out about other opportunities.
That comes up with another question of mine. I'm working at becoming an ASL interpreter.
Oh, okay.
I learned that I haven't really seen any interpreters here in the anime conventions.
I've never seen an ASL interpreter at any anime convention, and I've been to about 175 of them. So.
I was actually thinking of something along those lines of possibly,
But I mean, I have been at conventions where I know that there have been deaf attendees. So, I don't know.
What's an
Well, like-
ASL interpreter?
American Sign Language interpreter? Yeah.
It seems like one of the biggest differences between stage acting and voice acting would be, like, well, I guess 2 would be not being able to use your body because they can't.
Well, you use it, but they don't see it.
Right, but you can't use it for your performance because it's not captured, and then you're not actually acting with the rest of the cast.
Yes.
Is it hard to deal with that?
Well, is it hard to deal with not being with the rest of the cast? Well, I mean, there are a lot of differences. For one thing, with anime, you've never read the script before. You don't have to memorize the lines. There are no rehearsals. So there's no audience. I mean, there's a vast number of differences. But just for me as an actor, the feeling of doing it is very similar to being on stage. But I mean, I think you get used to it. That's where you use your training and your imagination. Because you have the script, so you see what the other people are going to say. So, you know, and hopefully the director knows, maybe not, but hopefully the director knows something about the show and they can give you a little bit of context. And Yeah, I mean, you just kind of get used to it. You're acting with a TV screen. You know, I mean, how do you feel about not interacting with the other actors?
Oh, well, it's not ideal, certainly, but I learned how to play off somebody's voice, play off their inflection, and their cadence, and their
Delivery?
yeah, delivery and interpretation of the line.
Yeah.
And I'll play off that.
I mean, you know, sometimes you might be the first person who's going in to record on an episode, in which case, you know, there's the only thing that would be there is if you're listening to the Japanese track, you might have that. But like I said, you do have the script, and it's really, doing anime is very much a director's medium, because, like I say, the actors have not read the script, they haven't rehearsed it, they don't know what's going to happen. So the director, it's really their job to put it all together and make it sound like everyone's actually in a room having a conversation with one another when they're not. Whereas stage is it's the ultimate actor's medium, because after you've done all your rehearsals and everything like that, once the curtain goes up, it's the actor's show. The director's not going to come into the middle of the play and go, oh, no, I didn't like the way, let's just take that back to the top of the scene. I mean, they might give you notes after the play's done, but while the play's going on, the actors are in control. It's their show. But when you're doing any kind of recorded thing, whether it's a commercial or a film or an anime, the director is completely in charge, and you know, you'll do that line as many times as they want you to until you get what they want. But you know, especially with anime, because you just really have to trust them so much since you haven't seen it. Yeah.
The first time you, like, going out, you know what the person is, who this is, what they're saying. The first time you ever did Asuka, what was your opinion on that character?
Well, I had some background on it. I did, in Evangelion, my character doesn't come in until the 8th episode. But I was assured that this was a really important character, so I thought, fine, what I'll do is I'll sit down and watch the first 7 episodes and see what this show is about. So I did that. I watched those, and I actually watched I guess like the first 2 episodes that Asuka was in. I watched them in Japanese with a translation. So I saw it and I had an idea of what was going on. And then just the director, Matt Greenfield, whatever information he gave me about the character. And of course I was super excited that she spoke German. My mother told me that was never going to come in handy to have taken German, and it did. So I was super excited that I was going to get to use my German. And it was a lot of fun. I was very excited when I finally got to work on it, because they've been working on Ava for months, and I was like, what is this show? What are you guys working on? Am I really in it? You know, that was something, you know, you asked about auditioning. I never auditioned for Asuka, and I was completely unaware when all of the auditions were going on for Evangelion, because I didn't audition, and so all of these parts were being auditioned and being cast, and in the meantime, everyone who was familiar with the show kept coming into Matt's office and said, so Tiffany is playing Asuka, right? So, yeah, so I just I am Asuka, apparently, and yeah, so I never, and then they found out, like, oh, Tiffany should really play this role of Asuka, and then people started finding out that I could speak German, and the character's from Germany, and then the rest is history.
What did you think of Evangelion after you've seen the entire thing?
I said, what the hell just happened? that was what I thought about it. I was like, wow. I mean, it was a lot to take in at first, but you know, it's a very thought-provoking show, and that's why they still keep making more of it. So.
Are you excited for the 3rd movie?
Yeah, whenever it comes out. I'm not like holding my breath or anything. You guys can all sit up there and hold your breath. I'm not going to. It'll come out when it comes out at some point. I'll be geriatric by the time they finish.